Hey everyone, Sparrow here, and surprise! You thought the last animal in True North was the polar bear, but today we'll be adding some free-roaming swans to this water feature that leads into the Arctic zone. If you want to see this thing built, check out the aviaries video I've linked in the top corner, but if you're here for the brand new gorgeous swans, then let's get started. First things first, a habitat gate that is easy to hide. Ended up placing it in the undergrowth off to the side between the path and the Arctic wolf habitat, and made the staff path green to better hide it. And then it was just a matter of setting up the null barriers to outline the edges of the habitat. We're going to use as many existing barriers as possible, such as along the edge of the Arctic wolf and Arctic fox habitats, because as you may know, null barriers don't actually prevent animals from escaping. They're really just useful for defining habitat boundaries when you want custom fencing. And just like that, we have our very first swan. Just going to move this tree out of the way to make sure our swans don't get stuck, but as you can now see, their traversable range has these red escape points on it. So how do we remedy this? Well, first I have to fix my barriers along the edge of the Boreal Cafe because there is a wall here, so we might as well use it as a habitat boundary. This will also allow the swans to nest in the garden beds behind the building, which is something they are likely to naturally do. Just need to make sure the barriers aren't colliding with any of the shops or restaurant inside. So that's fixed, but we still have the pathways to think about, and we can't slap down a fence because that will look bad and not realistic. Enter elephant grass. This is an old trick Planet Zoo players have been using for ages because elephant grass has a massive hitbox that prevents animals from walking into it. So we're going to use it to our advantage and sink it into the ground along the habitat barriers, just enough that the tips are hidden beneath the ground, and that should be enough to stop the swans from escaping this portion of the sanctuary. Just be careful that each strip is close enough to cover the escape points, and don't be like me doing it 3 times over. So now we just need to do that on the other 3 corners of this area. And while I do that, what do you think of the new Eurasia pack? If you haven't guessed already, the animal I was most excited for was the mute swan, which is why it's ending up in TNS. There were a few others I was happy to see, such as the wolverine and the takin, but I will be saving the rest of the DLC roster for my Europe-based and Asian zoos because, as we know, all good things must come to an end, and TNS is one of them. Mute swans aren't actually found in Alberta, but we do have other species of swans once in a while, and since this water feature was already populated with building piece waterfowl, I thought these were a great stand-in. They do regularly choose fresh or brackish ponds as breeding sites, so this works perfectly for them. Mute swans eat plenty of aquatic vegetation supplemented by animals such as frogs, fish, and snails, which we can pretend this man-made lake is full of, sometimes eating as much as 8 pounds of food a day. Now that we've blocked them in here with the magic of elephant grass, I think this will be the perfect spot for them. Just going to add some food and enrichment items to supplement that 8 pound per day diet and make sure all of their needs are met. Their social needs should be met as well, since I have 4 in here for now, 2 males and 2 females. Hopefully they pair up since swans are monogamous and we get some sweet little cygnets. I can't wait to see them floating around the pond or to see the mated pairs create the heart shapes with their long necks that they are so well known for, just like in the movies. One of my favorite movies as a kid was The Swan Princess, and this is honestly a dream come true having swans in Planet Zoo. With all their needs met, we have one last thing to do, and that's replace the plants in these planters. With the DLC, we also got hostas, both a solid and variegated version, and I was so excited to see that. I loved working with hostas when I worked in a greenhouse. They're a wonderful plant that does really well in shaded areas, and it also comes in so many varieties and colors that you could probably plant up a garden bed of just hosta and it would still be interesting to look at. And that's it for this little bonus episode. These swans look absolutely fantastic. The Planet Zoo team did an amazing job with them. Those feathers, the animations, I can't wait to spend so much more time watching them and seeing their various in-game behaviors. Just look at him swim through that pond scum. Absolutely beautiful. Those little tail wiggles are my absolute favorite. They're just the cutest thing ever. If the swan was also your favorite, make sure to like this video or let me know what your favorite animal in this pack was in the comments. See you next time. Bye.